It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV. Welcome, friends and neighbors. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us. In the event of an emergency, preparation is often the difference between safety and tragedy. Close to home, our public safety departments in West Bloomfield Township are hard at work preparing for a call they hope to never receive. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff is live at the West Bloomfield Civic Center Plaza with more. Jake.
Outside of the old West Bloomfield Parks building, you can see it is taped off with some police trucks in the vicinity. That is because that currently they are utilizing this old space for active shooter training. Now, there is not an active shooting incident that is taking place in West Bloomfield at this moment. This is merely a mandatory and a very precautionary training session that is taking place with the police department in conjunction with the West Bloomfield Fire Department. I reached out to Deputy Chief Brian Tash for comment. He explained it's a very busy time for these officers who have a lot of work ahead of them, and they're probably going to be utilizing this space throughout the rest of the week. I also got a comment from West Bloomfield Fire Chief Greg Flynn, who explained that, quote, public safety in West Bloomfield trains personnel to respond to expected and unexpected events that may occur at any time in our community. Opportunities like this are necessary for us to practice so we meet or exceed the expectations of those we serve, end quote. Definitely a lot of work taking place at this building right now, and there's going to be more information that will come out. I'll hopefully get a chance to talk with some of the officers in the coming days to get a little more information. But yeah, absolutely right, Tyler. All of this training session, very, very important for incidents that we hope to never occur.
And it's important, too, that both police and the fire department get insight on this and are able to work together in tandem, because in the event of an active shooter, whether it's in West Bloomfield Township or any of the Tri-Cities, where both of these departments would then definitely be part of the response, but also outside of our community in the Oakway Partnership, which the fire department takes place in, and West Bloomfield Police also provide support to other communities. So in the event that they experience something like this, hopefully never again like we saw in Oxford just a few years ago, they're ready for that response. They have at least some idea of what they're going to be getting into, what the strategy is going to be, which is why it's closed off. It's very much behind those closed doors, Jake, because it's important that these public safety officials understand what goes into this training, what they need to know if this ever happens, and make sure that those that may be perpetrating this aren't aware of those very strategies.
You're absolutely right. I mean, this is probably as close to the building as I can get. It is a very, very secluded and very, very private training session. And you're right in that with incidents like Oxford and with the countless other shootings that have taken place over the last few years, this is something we want to desperately try to avoid. So all of this work is incredibly necessary.
A sad reality of modern day life, but there is at least some sense of peace of mind knowing that the two of our police and fire departments, premier emergency services departments in the entire state of Michigan, are ready on the call if it ever comes to where West Bloomfield is the one that has to respond to a tragedy like this in the Oakway Partnership or close to home here in our community. Jake, next door, always a busy time at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, where they're putting technology in focus once again.
May look a little bit different the next time you log into your account, like your library account. However, the library assures that it's easier than ever before to find those good reads and other media online and to reserve pickups when you stop by the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. You can access their new page by logging on to wblib.org under account. We're going to put a graphic on the screen in just a minute that will show a big difference from the old website to the new website, really showcasing how things have improved and to make things very, very easier for everybody who's looking to check out some books in the time to come.
Yeah, Jake, we'll get that up for people. It's online on the library's Facebook page as we speak. Shows the differences, kind of text-based in the previous version. Now the new updated version, definitely going to be more of a visual medium for people. Show some of those items. If you're checking out a book, it'll show you the book. Here you see that on your screens now on civiccentertv.com. The right side being kind of the older version of it, where you got it listed, you can search for it, you got the text that tells you sort of who the author is, where it's going to be located in the library, is it available, whereas on the left you can look through and maybe you've seen the cover and you heard about the book, or a friend of yours, you saw the book on their shelf or on their table, and you wanted to read it as they're reading it. Now you're going to be able to see that title as you're scrolling through that website. All you got to do is log into your account on the library's website, wblib.org. Now, Jake, of course, some people have the misconception that libraries are a thing of the past, close to home, the West Bloomfield Library, however, making sure ours remains a thing of the future, and keeping up with those technologies a big part of that. Jake, lastly, the West Bloomfield Library is also a strong partner of our local school districts, 7 of them in total here in Greater West Bloomfield. In the West Bloomfield School District, the end of an era is on its way at Scotch Elementary School. Give us the latest.
That's right. Scotch Elementary School. James Scrivo has been the principal of that school for almost the last 25 years, minus a couple years when he was working at a different school. But in just a bit of short time, James is going to be heading off to retirement. It's definitely going to be, he's made a huge impact to the school and a huge impact to the many teachers that have worked with him over the years. I stopped by the school to talk with some of the teachers, and they told me just how much they love Principal Scrivo, and they told me just how much of an impact he has on the school, on the kids, and everybody he meets.
Mr. Scrivo makes Scotch Elementary feel like a home, somewhere that I as a staff member want to come each day, and a place where students want to come each day, because we just feel super welcomed and loved when he is around.
He is compassionate, he's caring, he loves every adult, every student that walks in and out of this building. You can just tell that he really loves what he does, and it shows and it carries throughout the building.
He's like a celebrity here. We all love him so much. The kids run up and hug him. We love him. He's just amazing. He's just somebody that you can talk to about your day. He's friendly. He's just like a family friend, or like really just family.
James Scrivo is the best. He and I got hired in around the same time, so we're in each other's pledge class, if you will. So he and I learned alongside each other, taught alongside each other, and now I get to be led by him, and it's really been just a pleasure.
What do you think James Scrivo brings to this school on a day-to-day basis?
His big, giant heart. He loves the kids, and let me tell you something, these kids love him. The staff loves him. That's an easy win. He takes very good care of us. He always puts our needs first. But man, these kids fall in love with him. He walks into a room, the whole class stops, applauds, cheers for him. He is one of a kind.
What was it like when you were first starting out as a teacher here and you were first getting acquainted with Mr. Scrivo? How did he make you feel welcome?
Okay, well, funny story. When I did my student teaching here at Scotch Elementary, it was Mr. Scrivo's first year as a 5th grade teacher. So he was kind of like my mentor / teaching partner. I was student teaching with one of his 5th grade teaching partners. So from day one, he was making learning fun, engaged with the kids, just really like a hands-on kind of learner and teacher.
25 years of partnership and friendship. I mean, that's got to mean something.
It does. It means a lot. I love that I got to start my career with him and end with him, because I was at Roosevelt for a few years. I got hired at Doherty, so it's like been awesome for me to watch him start and finish as a teacher and then as a principal.
How different do you think the school is going to be once he heads off to retirement?
Man, the new principal's got some big shoes to fill. One of the hardest and sometimes easiest roles for a principal is building those relationships. And I think it's going to take a while for that new principal to get to establish those same level of relationships that he's been able to do and really capture all of our hearts, as capturing kids' hearts likes to say.
What do you have to say, last thing, to Mr. Scrivo as he heads off to retirement?
I am so fortunate to have finally worked with you. Thank you so much for making the Roosevelt teachers feel so supported and welcomed last year when we came over. And just good luck. We will miss you. We know you're going to do amazing things, but always come back and visit.
Amazing things indeed. From starting out as a fifth grade teacher to working all the way up to becoming the principal, James Scrivo has truly made an impact on Scotch Elementary, and we wish him the best of luck as he heads to the next chapter.
Yeah, Jake, appreciate your report out at the Civic Center complex. Recognized by the school board in January, colleagues this week on Civic Center TV, and now his farewell tour and in the final months of the year come forth at Scotch Elementary School, as he'll be able to complete his stellar tenure in our classrooms here in West Bloomfield. Jake Schaff, live from the Civic Center complex in West Bloomfield. Appreciate the report. If you can do anything in your professional life for over 20 years, you're probably doing something right. But when your goodbye is felt not only by your own heart, but by the hearts of those working around you and in that community, you know you've done it the right way. As Scotch Elementary School begins bidding its final farewell to longtime principal James Scrivo, we give him a chance to reflect on his career and his school family with us on the Splash Live today. Mr. Scrivo, welcome and congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on because you heard some of those reactions. You've heard some of them from your colleagues at Scotch and from others throughout the school district, and I'm sure that means a lot to you that they have appreciated your time at Scotch. But as you reflect on your career, what are the biggest takeaways for you from your experience interacting with that community yourself?
Well, I mean, I am an East Sider. My dad would always say, "East Side till you die," and I was born and raised an East Sider, and I was taken into the West Side community many years ago in 2001. And to be honest, I didn't even know West Bloomfield existed when I grew up. But I saw the opening. My wife lived in this area. She wasn't my wife at the time. She was my fiance. And she said, we should try and find a place out here. So look for some jobs that are in the Oakland community area. So I did. And I was lucky enough to get an interview in West Bloomfield. And Joey Spano was the community ed director there, and she passed my resume on to the higher ups. And I started an incredible career in West Bloomfield, where I feel like I grew up and I became a man, I became a husband, became a father, and then eventually I'd like to think that I became a leader in the community.
And as you
please go ahead. Sorry.
And then as you began that change from being a teacher in the classroom every day to being a principal who's still doing that teaching in the classroom and around the school every single day, what were some of your goals in making that transition to not only take your experiences in the classroom up to that point, but to then enhance the experience of the other teachers in the school and those students going forward?
Good question. And I think about that a lot. When I started teaching, I had no aspirations to be a principal ever. I had spent way too many hours and days with my principals when I was not always following directions. And that was the last thing I wanted to do. And to be truthful, being a teacher was not on my to-do list. It kind of fell in my lap, and I started working with kids, and I realized that as much as I fought it, my mom was a teacher for 25 years. My grandfather was a teacher. Two of my aunts have their teaching degree. It was in my blood. And I was just, I wasn't seeing it yet, at that age. But now, looking back, I realized it was something I was born to do it. I really feel that way. And I think sometimes you find jobs that you're just born to do. When I got a little bit, a few years under my belt, I started to see that you could have influence with not just your class, but with other classes. So I started to coach. I started to volunteer in the school to do other jobs besides teach. Simple things like being in charge of all the fifth grade safeties or being in charge of student council, coaching fifth grade basketball. You just had a bigger reach. And when I started to see that I could possibly not just influence my own classroom, but influence many classrooms in the school, I really started to find a passion for leadership and the ability to do that. Once that opportunity arose and I was able to become the vice principal at our former middle school, Abbott, I really jumped at that opportunity to lead at a level where I could impact the entire school. And to be truthful with you, I was not a child that liked school. I liked recess. I loved lunch. Gym was my favorite class. I excelled in gym. I did not excel in the classroom. And some of it was due to the teachers at the time that were in my building. I didn't feel like they understood me. And I really tried to create a place where kids want to come, parents want to be part of it, and teachers beg to get into it. And I think we've really created something here at Scotch.
And so, now, taking your experience from growing up and being in school, not feeling like you were understood by the teachers all the time, and that other students weren't really understood by their teachers, how did you incorporate that into not only your experience as a teacher in the classroom every day, but then as a principal to create that kind of environment at Scotch?
I mean, in the beginning, there was a lot of, I would say, a lot of pushback. Parents, parents are the child's first teacher, and they hopefully are their biggest advocate. But trust and time, build relationships. And once the parents understood that the only thing that I wanted out of the relationship with them and the students was the students' success, and I would go to just about any length to create a place where they could have success. It didn't always work. I have failures without question. Kids that I think about all the time that either didn't stay at Scotch or just maybe didn't get the experience that they really needed. Those are true facts. But on the masses, I really feel like we've created a place through building relationships that people want to be at and kids want to go to, and parents want to be part of.
All these years as a principal at Scotch and your experience working with other administrators in West Bloomfield with so many talented teachers who have a variety of different skill sets in your school building itself, and even in your experience previously as a vice principal, like you mentioned, at Abbott. Taking all of that into account, how do you measure success as a principal, as an administrator in a school in today's day and age?
Well, personally, I wouldn't have any success if it wasn't for the teachers. They do the work every day on a daily basis in those classrooms with those students, and without them, I'm easily replaceable. You can replace one principal regardless of what building you're in. You cannot replace a school of teachers. They're irreplaceable, and I don't know how you measure success. Like, if you want to take the paper, it'll be the M step. I measure success when I see those students in high school walk across the stage and get their diploma, and then I meet up with them later on, in their adulthood, and they come back and they say what an amazing time they had at Scotch. I measure it when we have our middle schoolers come back to Scotch and want to do their Junior National Honor Society hours, their NJS hours, because they want to do it at Scotch. I measure success when I have the high school National Honor Society members come back and want to do their hours at Scotch because they love being at Scotch. I'm blessed this year to have some really strong data with our NWEA scores, both in reading and in math. I think those scores are top-down reason why we're successful, from the implementation, from the board allowing us to use a new English Language Arts program, EL education, with our Bridges for Math. I really believe that the PD that we've received in both of them and the teaching that the students are getting are allowing us to have scores to back up some of those intangibles that we feel successful with. And I think a big piece is our relational capacity. Scotch is a 9-time national showcase school for capturing kids' hearts. And at the heart of that process is building relationships with students, building relationships with your peers, your teachers, your student-to-student peers, and then building relationships with your community. And I think if you were to ask the majority of our community members, they would have something similar to say, that they feel a strong relationship with Scotch. and they feel it's a place that they want their children to be at.
A welcoming environment, a place that feels like home, and a place where, of course, kids learn a lot and are able to move on to successful educational careers and successful lives beyond that. That's typically the bellwether of what is success in a school environment. James Scrivo with us, the longtime principal at Scotch Elementary School, as we anticipate his retirement at the close of this school year. Already so much celebration within the school district for you. But at the school board level recently, when you made a presentation on behalf of Scotch Elementary School, and of course earlier on we heard from some of the educators at Scotch Elementary School who had their praises and their thanks for you as well. But there's big shoes to fill now, because you have had an impact. Whether you'll say it or not, you've had a major impact on people at that school for over 20 years. And so as someone else comes in and their leadership style, maybe it's similar, maybe it's different, maybe they have different ideas going forward, you do have sort of the pulse of where education is today, where it may be going forward. What advice do you have for the next person that comes into your role to keep Scotch as amazing as it has been now, while also approaching those challenges it's ultimately going to face going forward?
That's a very big question. That's a loaded question, obviously. Not in a negative way, but it's loaded where you could go so many different ways with the answer. I hope what I know is that the teachers that are in this building will not let Scotch fail. It does not. I hope people feel like it matters that I've been here for as long as I have. But the reason I have been here for as long as I have, the number one, are the teachers that I work with. And they will not let Scotch fail. So for that principal to come in, every principal, and I made the mistake when I started, every principal wants to make the building their own. They want to impart their wisdom. They want to impart some new ideas, maybe some new procedures. I would ask that person listen first, right? Interview, kind of do like mini interviews with all the teachers, get a gist of how they teach, who they are, begin to build those relationships with them, listen again, and before they make any huge decisions, they take that pulse of the school to make sure it's something that would be in the best interest of the students, the teachers, the parents, and the community. But the listening factor is something I had to really work on. Even in interviews like this, you're so excited to get to your answer. I mean, I know I'm older now, but I still get excited when people ask me questions. And you have to learn to wait and listen to the question so you can make a solid answer. And I hope that person has that skill level and that patience level to let things happen at first and observe. And then there are going to be things that I'm sure that I do that need to be improved upon. And hopefully they take that time, that precious time, and they listen to the instincts of the teachers, and they go with those at first. And then once the relationships are built, you can then begin to move the building in the direction that they see fit. Because there are things that are going to come up. I mean, let alone the numerous opportunities that AI is going to provide. And I know it's much easier used at the high school and middle school level right now, but it will filter down like all things do. And I think the opportunity that there is with the AI technology that's out there is going to be, it's pretty much endless. It's amazing if you've messed around with it at all yet, just in playing with it, and trying different things. I mean, obviously taking it a step further than just using ChatGPT to write better emails or letters. But hopefully we're able to use that at the elementary level to create some projects and to add something more to some of our curriculum that we already are excelling at.
James Scrivo is with us, the principal at Scotch Elementary School, as he prepares for the final months of his career in education right here in West Bloomfield School District. And James, we know that there's so many different challenges for teachers nowadays, especially for those that are just beginning their careers or exploring potentially careers in education. You yourself said it earlier on, you weren't sure if education was the way you wanted to go. You never wanted to really be in the classroom long term growing up. But for those that are maybe in their senior year of high school, maybe they're anticipating going to college, maybe they're in a college or university or 2-year school right now thinking about what they want to do with their life and their career, what would you say to those people as they consider going into education?
Look long term, okay? Coming out of college, unfortunately, we live in a society where many of us pay for college ourselves. I was blessed. My mom and dad helped me with college when I went so many moons ago in the late 90s. However, the students that are coming out of college now, many of them are going to have a large debt, and it's going to take time to pay down their college payment. However, if you look at the top 5 careers that make millionaires, believe it or not, teachers are one of them. If you look long term with their investments and their retirement, people look at it's not the glory that you sign a contract out of college and you get a signing bonus and you're working for one of the larger Fortune 500 companies. Yes, I get that. But the time it gives you with your family, the time it gives you with your friends, those are times that nobody can, it was like stealing. I was blessed that I had my 2 kids come to school with me. I drove them to school in the morning and drove them home. That time was precious. And I'm a big family guy. If that's what your first thought is as you get older, is family, then education could be one of the best jobs that you go into. There are endless possibilities within it. I never once thought about being a principal ever. If you were to tell my high school principal, Miss Erler, that I have been a principal for 16 years, she would probably laugh in your face. But, once I was given the opportunity, I saw what it could bring, not only for myself, but for my family. And it's awarded us endless opportunities, and it's been a great life. I know the salary is not where people want it to be. We would always like things to be a little different, but for the job and what you get out of it, I believe as you move up, and if you can get through those first years where it is a little tough, no doubt about it. I would have struggled with my mortgage with just my salary if it wasn't for my wife's salary. I see that. And I know that housing is so over the top right now that it's difficult to even purchase one. But I hope that more and more good quality, solid individuals continue to go into the field, because it's truly been, with the decision of marrying my wife, the best decision that I made was going into education. Even though I fought it at first, I am blessed, and I feel extremely grateful that I chose that.
And it's a career where you can see the fulfillment each and every day and the successes of the kids and of the community that builds in our school classrooms as well. Mr. Scrivo, thank you as always, and congratulations to you.
It's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on the show, and thank you for joining us as you enter the final months of your career in the West Bloomfield School District. You can congratulate Mr. Scrivo along with the rest of the school district. Follow them on Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools and learn more about what's going on in the West Bloomfield School District on their website on wbsd.org. We'll take a break. On the other side, we'll keep our classrooms in focus with the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation. Stay with us. More coming up next. Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
I'm Gina Gregory, president of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. I'm excited that Civic Center TV has reached 1 million views on YouTube. Congratulations. That's just terrific. We appreciate everything Civic Center does for the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society and the community. For us, they promote and highlight our events. It's awesome to have them available 24/7 on YouTube. I'm Gina Gregory and proud to be one in a million.
Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to the Splash, live.
Live, local, social, welcome back to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us online, on cable, and all across our social media as well. Find all that information and, of course, see our programs on demand on civiccentertv.com. All year round, the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation has local classrooms on their minds, focusing on fundraising to help teachers execute their lesson plans and enrich the learning of students all across the greater West Bloomfield area. Recently, their strategies for fundraising have changed a little bit. Some new programs on the horizon in 2026 already on the way and already in motion as we speak. But the impact in our schools has only grown stronger over that period as well. Here with the latest is Juliet Joswick and Kelly Petrosella from the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation. Ladies, thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us, Tyler.
Glad to have you on. Juliet, I'm going to start with you. Can you share sort of how the strategies in fundraising have changed so far in the end of 2025 into 2026 and how that's already having an impact on these classrooms that the funds and these programs are supported by?
Thank you. Yes, we added a lot more programming to our fundraising efforts. We did a photo shoot. We have kindergarten kits that we are selling, raising money for the foundation, and we switched up our very big annual fundraising event just to change things up because we've been doing the casino night for years, probably a decade. And we wanted to kind of give the opportunity for our supporters for something new, something fun.
And you know, some of those changes are a bit off of the tradition of years past. Of course, casino night, something that people loved to attend each and every year, and now that's not going to be there anymore. But how do you replace that with new traditions and bring something in that you know will excite the people, but also be able to be so exciting that it brings in that same sort of excitement, of course, that fundraising from something like casino night in years past?
Yeah, I mean, fundraising can be fun. And so we actually are going to do a Kentucky Derby Gala. May 2nd is when the actual race will be. So we'll be able to watch the race live. We will have games. We'll have contests for best dress, couples, and best hat. We have one of Metro Detroit's really well-known bands. It's called 40 Amp Fuse. They're going to, 50 Amp Fuse, who are going to be, just having people up and dancing. We're going to have dinner. We're going to have just wonderful opportunities for people to connect. They can really dress up in their seersucker suits and their fancy dresses. And it truly is all for a great cause.
Juliet Joswick and Kelly Petrosella are with us from the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation. Kelly, I want to bring it over to you now because this fundraising can bring in a lot of money that can go a long way to help our teachers and ultimately help our students. So as those funds come in, how is it determined where they ultimately end up and what programs they support in our schools across West Bloomfield?
That's a great question, Tyler. We have a grant program that we offer to teachers and staff throughout the district. So they are able to apply at the beginning of the school year through till about October for grants. We have guidelines on what we will approve grants for, and they submit those, and then we go through each grant. And really our goal is to give every teacher and staff member that applies for one the grant as long as they fall within the guidelines of the West Bloomfield Education Foundation.
And then you also see the impact quite immediately. You know, the funds go to these teachers and these grants. They put what they've proposed in motion, and then you see how it helps the students. You know, why is it important to have something like this in place, a foundation that's specifically thinking about taking those next steps for teachers to enhance those lesson plans?
Yeah, it really is allowing the teachers to elevate their learning for the students. we've provided, Mrs. Caldwell's class in the middle school is learning about ancient Egyptian culture, and the foundation was able to provide materials so they could do work on papyrus paper and writing hieroglyphics and building pyramids. So it's really allowing them to learn outside of the textbook.
Juliet Joswick also with us from the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation. How does feedback from both the teachers and the community impact both sides of the coin, the fundraising aspect, and then ultimately where these grant funds go to after the proposals are in and your team decides which programs to fund?
Wonderful question. So when we read these grant applications, I feel like I'm getting an associate's in education, because the research and just the amount of work that these teachers do to really justify these purchases, and each grant can go up to $750. I learned so much about how education helps kids, obviously, but really the science and very detailed explanation of why they need certain items. And one of the ones that I want to talk about, if I can, is at the high school, they have an American Sign Language class, and they ask for green screens and ring lights so they can produce their own videos. I just, for the ASL community, how fantastic is that? Making it more mainstream. One of Dr. Bazzi asked for a grant where she sits down with kids and they go over a social contract. That social contract is a contract between the teachers and the students for the entire school year, and it's a collaborative situation where they agree to be respectful and accountable, and this is how these kids learn how to operate in today's society, and so needed.
And these programs, Kelly, they can really have an impact on the students and the teachers. It improves the morale. It makes the teachers feel more involved in the behind the scenes that leads them into what they're able to do in the classroom. But ultimately, what matters is the kids. So how has feedback from the students themselves on some of these programs also impacted the decisions being made, maybe behind the scenes, or the way you approach your work with the foundation?
Yeah, I really think for the students, it's giving them the ability, like I said, to learn outside the textbook. And so a lot of these grants are being awarded, and it's, manipulatives or games. It's ways of making learning fun. And so it's taking it from, rather than having a teacher stand at the front of the classroom and give a lesson on something, they're able to do hands-on learning. And so I do think it helps the students be more engaged and feel like they're a part of what they're learning rather than just listening to someone talk.
And it's important, too, to have that involvement from all different elements, from, of course, the foundation, the teachers telling you what they need, putting those grant proposals forward so you have a better idea of some of what you're going to be funding going forward, and then still, the most important, what is the impact of all of this work? Juliet, going back to you, because those little fundraisers here and there that are now going to be popping up, some of the bigger fundraisers that are changing, all of those do have a pretty significant impact. So for the person at home that may be like, okay, well, I haven't gone to casino night because I'm not much of a gambler, I don't have all this disposable income, I want to maybe lose at the blackjack table or whatnot, or I don't want to attend all these events. Those little donations you can make just when you can, how far can they really go to help our classrooms here in West Bloomfield?
Well, if they don't want to attend the event, but the Kentucky Derby is going to be off the hook fun, they can go to WBEF.org and they can actually donate. We're actually working on a program to include more of our West Bloomfield alumni, and also to get some engagement with more of the community, and also having sustaining memberships where they can just keep giving every year to the foundation. But I think a couple of the other programs that we have is a Grow With Me, where they get kindergarten kits and t-shirts. We also are doing a 50-50 raffle. Yeah, we want to blow the doors off of our fundraising efforts. We want, when you see these kids absolutely their eyes in their jaw hits the ground when they see all the cool things that they can learn with. They're not toys. These teachers have researched what they want, and they're not toys. Sure, technically they're toys, but they're very, very crafted to help kids understand sharing and collaboration, and it's fantastic to see. I'm actually substitute teach whenever I can for the school district, so I see the impact from kindergarten to high school. It's fantastic.
Yeah, when you have the right tools in place, you can make learning that much more fun, that much more engaging, especially for those younger students, but even for those older students who have formed their own opinions. They're starting to mold into their own personalities. It may not mesh well with the traditional way of teaching this lesson versus that. Those things can really be that bridge between the goal of the lesson plan and the needs of the student. Really important to have all of that in place. More information on the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation is on their website on WBEF.org, and on social media. Follow them on Facebook and on Instagram at West Bloomfield Ed Foundation. Juliet Joswick and Kelly Petrosella join us on the Splash Live today. Kelly, both you and Juliet have taken that big leap from not only helping out the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation by attending events and making donations, but giving your time as well for parents, for members of the community that love to support our schools. Why is joining with your team at the West Bloomfield Education Foundation the way to go to do that?
A solid school district, a school district that has kids going off to college and trade schools and having the means to really develop themselves. Having a strong school district, and I'm putting my realtor hat on now, it increases the value of homes. It just makes the community more economically viable. It increases just a wealth of people coming into the school district.
And Kelly, I want to ask sort of the same thing to you, but in a different light. Looking back on your involvement so far, what are you most proud of? What do you wish you knew going in that would have maybe inspired you to dive in earlier or dive into this fundraising work, this volunteer work with the foundation with a little bit more oomph than maybe you came in with?
Yeah, I'm most proud of all the changes that we made within the foundation. I mean, we went from basically a single fundraiser group to now we're doing multiple different things. We're trying to throw different things at the wall and see what sticks, to see what the community would enjoy and be willing to give towards. And so we've generated a lot of phenomenal ideas. I always say we're a small but mighty board, and the women that I work with on this board, I'm very proud to stand beside, and I think we're doing some great work and making some great progress.
Two great advocates for the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation, an organization that's all about advocating for our teachers and for the students at the end of the day. WBEF.org is the website for more information, including info on their big event coming up. A brand new fundraiser replacing Casino Night is their Kentucky Derby event coming up. Juliet, before we let you go, give us the details on that very fun day that will go a long way to help our teachers in 2026 and beyond.
Okay, thank you so much for this, for the ability to do a little plug here. So the event, we'll probably roll out our ticket sales. We do have an early bird opportunity, $80. We'll get you dinner, dancing, games, watching the race live. We will have silent auctions. We will be pulling the winner of the 50-50 raffle. So there will be a lot of action-packed things happening at the gala. We will have it at Edgewood Country Club, which was recently renovated. Like I said, we have 50 amp fuse coming in. We're just going to blow the doors off the club with the fun and the funds that we raise. And again, it goes to such a much needed group of people, teachers and students. I mean, we all know that an educated society just does better in so many ways.
And often in classrooms, even here in West Bloomfield, those teachers from the baseline are bringing a lot of those different materials for enhanced learning in themselves from their own pockets. This allows an organization supported by teachers, by parents, by members of the community to help them out with that and enhance the learning of our students across all of our schools in the West Bloomfield School District. Juliet, Juliet, thank you for joining us, and also Kelly, thank you as well for being with us on the show today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler.
Appreciate it. You can learn more about the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation on WBEF.org. Follow them as well on their social media pages, Facebook and on Instagram at West Bloomfield Ed Foundation. The Detroit Red Wings have reinvigorated the Detroit hockey community with their 2026 season success, number 2 in their division, number 3 in points in the Eastern Conference. But close to home, our West Bloomfield Lakers are doing the same as they battle the best of the best in Michigan week in and week out on the ice. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff has the story.
With winter storms and snow continuing to wreak havoc all throughout Michigan, several popular outdoor sports have had to be put on pause due to the season. But that just means there's all the more excitement for hockey. And the West Bloomfield High School hockey team has been hard at work all season, shredding it out on the ice and building incredible teamwork all along the way. I had the chance to stop by one of their practice sessions recently to hear what the sport of hockey means to them, especially throughout a harsh winter like this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, having something to do in the winter is huge. I mean, a lot of my buddies, they don't have much to do in the winter, especially when it gets nice and cold outside. You're stuck inside. I can come to the rink every day, practice, hang out with the boys, a lot of fun.
Honestly, it's great because, the snow, everything else gets canceled for the most part. Hockey, you just come in, play hockey. It's the one sport you can play with the cold weather, so it's kind of great that because of that, you can just keep playing, keep practicing, keep working on your craft every day with the guys that we've been going to school with for the most part for a while.
What is it about hockey that stands out more so than any other sport?
In my opinion, honestly, the physicality. You have sports like football and lacrosse, pretty physical, but honestly, hockey's different. You're flying like 20 miles an hour, tops down the ice, just hitting people, getting the puck, shooting the puck upwards of like 60-plus miles an hour for some guys. So I think for the most part, it just stands out. Plus the team bonding, everything you have to do as a team. You can't just have one guy doing it all. So it's a big team sport, physical, fast. So I think from other sports, it's pretty different,
What do you see from these players on a day-to-day basis?
Constant effort, teamwork, just coming together and pushing to get better every day as a team, as individuals, managing schedules between school. Some of them have jobs, home life, friends, and just coming here and going to work and shutting everything else off. No phones, going to work. We're having an average season. We're right at 500. We'd like to be a little bit over that or, far above it. But, we're persevering and we're pushing and, a loss definitely pushes us to go get the next W. So it's, the guys are working hard and every loss hurts and we're striving for the next W.
What have you taken away from being a part of a team like this and having this camaraderie with these other incredible athletes?
Honestly, I think the team part, everybody's got to be bought in. You can't have guys that are just kind of like half in, half out, and then have guys that are fully in. Everybody's got to be bought in. When you have everybody bought in, you start to win games, things start to go your way, the pucks start going in, and everybody's just having fun, And the team, when everybody's bought in, there's no bad things. We have people picking each other up on the benches. Nobody's left behind. It's next man up every opportunity you get.
Oh, yeah. So, for any young guys that are getting into the sport, just the physicality, the level of competition, being able to compete every day, practice games, anything like that, just competing is the big part of it. Just, you got to love competition.
What advice would you offer to people who are looking to try out hockey themselves?
Somebody that's looking to try out for my team, keep working and definitely, listen to your coaches. That's one of the bigger things that coaches are always looking for is coachability, right? You don't need the best players on the ice. You need the guys that are going to do what you're asking them to do and go to work, right? Anybody new looking to get in, there's plenty of open skates. You're never too old to get back into the game. I have plenty of friends that start playing in their late 20s and still playing in the beer leagues, so they're having fun.
The conditions may be cold, but there is a burning fire inside each and every one of these players as hockey fever continues to sweep the nation. Best of luck to the West Bloomfield hockey team on their continued success, and here's hoping they can score many more goals down the line. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Not just a basketball school, West Bloomfield definitely becoming a hockey school as well. Appreciate the report, Jake, and you can, of course, follow the West Bloomfield hockey team and the rest of West Bloomfield Lakers winter athletics on westbloomfieldathletics.com. Some of the best high school sports programs call West Bloomfield High School home, but Laker Nation, like many teams, is nothing without strong leadership steering the ship. Athletic directors across the state agree nobody does it as well as West Bloomfield High School Athletic Director Eric Pierce, who was recently named the MIAA Region 11 Athletic Director of the Year. He joins us now on the Splash Live to reflect on the honor. Eric, welcome to the show, and of course, congratulations.
Tyler, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be on with you.
Yeah, happy to have you on, especially to talk about this, because you've been hard at work at West Bloomfield High School in its athletics programs for a number of years, certainly in the last several years to a decade as the athletics director at West Bloomfield High School, running the oversight of all of these programs. But to have this recognition come now, especially from your hardworking peers in Oakland County and throughout the state of Michigan, what does that mean to you personally?
Well, I really think you hit the nail on the head. You know, I'm awfully flattered. Anytime you get recognized by your peers, people you work with and talk to a bunch, it's extremely flattering. You know, I think as with many things in athletics, this is a team award, though. You know, I have wonderful people that I work with day in and day out in our athletic office. Shamrika Howell, Bruce Buffmeyer, Billy Brown. A lot of people that contribute to all of our events here. But the big thing I think that, you know, people recognize around the state is they recognize that West Bloomfield's got positive momentum. We built a great brand here. We have great tradition. We have wonderful facilities that we use for our athletic events. And we have systems in place to try to make our events run smooth. But most importantly, I think that at West Bloomfield, we provide a remarkable game day experience for everybody, and that they truly enjoy coming here.
It's a very different experience, too, being an athletic director than it is being a teacher or being a coach. But they all sort of have similar qualities that bring success at each one of those individual jobs and each one of those roles. So how did your past as a teacher originally at the school and then also in your coaching capacity help aid you as you're now overseeing and helping to lead all of these sports across all 3 of the seasons throughout the year at West Bloomfield High School?
Well, I think those experiences that I had definitely help in this job every single day. First and foremost, we all know it's all about the student athletes. It's all about the kids here at the school. And we want to provide the best opportunities in educational athletic. You know, to walk around the hall and to see them smiling and to see them happy with what's going on with our athletics programs, that's a true blessing in itself. And that's a huge reward. In addition to that, you know, being a teacher, having the ability to relate to the students and talk to them and recognize both the educational aspect of the games as well as the competitive level of the game, it's extremely important. I think that's a lot from my background in coaching as well. You know, people will tell you, those that played for me, that I was tough. I was tough on them as a coach. My expectations were extremely high, but at the same time, I was one of the first people that would come up and say, hey, I appreciate you. I trust you. I love you. You know, all these different types of things and congratulate them. It's a mutual respect that goes with between the student athlete and their coaches and the student athlete and their teachers. And, you know, I always say it during our signing day ceremonies, but our student athletes are some of the best representatives of our school and what we hope our students will be. And we truly get to see that every single day in our athletic program.
And from your perspective, how does athletics, especially at the high school level, where, look, some people are going to go play collegiately in any of the lower divisions or certainly in the D1, those prestige schools and those prestige sports, but for most people, it's an activity that helps to enrich their learning. How does involvement in athletics help our students become better students, be better young men and women, and on top of that, improve, as you mentioned, the culture of the school itself?
Well, there's always something to be said for the life lessons that athletics teach you. You know, every single day you're learning something. Failure is a big thing and how you respond to failure. You know, you look at a lot of our sports and failure is a huge part of it. And it's our student athletes that have the ability to bounce back up, do things right on the next play. You know, we always say good play, bad play, there's always the next play. And we want them to make sure that they're able to handle situations where they're not successful. And that says a lot about your character. But I think overall, when you look at athletics, just getting involved in something always improves the experience of high school. We tell everybody in their freshman orientation here at West Bloomfield that our biggest thing as an administrative team is we want you to get involved. You find your niche, you find your group of people that you want to hang out with, and it gets you as part of the community. We are Laker Nation. There's no doubt about it. And we think that if you get involved in the different activities that we have, whether it's athletics or the clubs or anything that you're interested in, that you're going to feel like a member of that nation, and you're gonna love to experience all the different opportunities that we have here.
Eric Pierce is with us, the West Bloomfield High School Athletic Director, who's recently been named the MIAAA Region 11 Athletic Director of the Year. A big congratulations to him from the whole team at the West Bloomfield School District, certainly at West Bloomfield High School, but also from his peers across the state. Eric, there's a lot of ways to measure success on the field, on the court, your records, your championships, whether you're competitive locally and at the state level, winning those rivalry games. But as an athletic director, how do you measure success of your individual programs and then yourself personally and professionally in your capacity?
Well, I believe the truest measure of the form of success is if I ask a student athlete, when they graduate from high school, if they go back and they relive the 4 years of athletics that they had here at West Bloomfield, if they had that opportunity, would they do it? And if all of them say yes and that they love the experience and everything of that nature, then I am truly happy. I really am. We want to make sure that we provide the best opportunities for them. We want them to know that when they go out there and they're representing West Bloomfield, when they're representing our Laker Nation, that they're going to have the opportunity to showcase their skills, but more importantly, to show what we offer as a school. They're true representation of West Bloomfield High School. And I tell you, the greatest measure of success, yes, it comes in the form of how many people that we have play at the next level, and it comes in the form of championships, and it comes in the form of, everything that we see day to day here in the athletic office. But the biggest measure of success is the smile and the enjoyment of our student athletes.
And we can see it on those signing days, on game days, when they get, senior night, and so many people come out to support all these different sports, whether they're involved in them or not, whether they have a friend in them or not. There is that, as you say all the time, Laker Nation behind each and every one of these sports. And lastly, Eric, before we let you go, we think about, so often when we think about our high school sports, we think of the so-called prestige sports, football, basketball, baseball, but really there's so many different options for kids at West Bloomfield High School. You've been expanding those programs now to 39 different athletics teams that are involved in Laker Nation. What does that mean to you, to be able to give those opportunities to a variety of student athletes?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that we're meeting the kids and what their interests are, and that's an awesome thing. If a student comes up to me and say, hey, I'm interested in this, we have a plan, we want to compete with our friends, is there an option for that? We do whatever we can to try to help them out with that. And to see our programs expanding, and especially with enrollment numbers going down and everything like that, to still have the same number of student athletes that we've been having over the past few years, that lets me know something. That lets me know that my coaches are doing a fantastic job out there. It lets me know that people are enjoying their experience in athletics, and it lets me know that the program is strong. And ultimately, that's what we want here at West Bloomfield High School: provide those opportunities and have that strong program that students want to be a part of.
Eric Pierce, the MIAAA Region 11 Athletic Director of the Year for the state of Michigan, joining us on the Splash Live. Also the Athletic Director at West Bloomfield High School. Before we let you go, Eric, got another 60 seconds or so. Is there a moment in your career, either as a coach or as an athletic director, that you look back on particularly with a sense of fondness that says to you, I'm doing my job right and I'm making a difference at this school and in these kids' lives?
Well, I know you remember the COVID times, Tyler, because you were in there with me as well. But I think you can remember the Donovan Edwards, Max Harrison signing day, where we had 6 people signing our student athletes out in the middle of our Lakers Stadium field in a blizzard. And we had said that, we're going to make this as special as we possibly can for those student athletes. We want to make sure that they have their day just like everybody else had. And nothing was going to prevent us from celebrating them. And I tell you what, it was a blizzard. I know you remember we could see the logo at the beginning of the day at the center of the field. We sure as heck couldn't see it at the end of the day. It was covered in probably about 3 or 4 inches of snow by the time we got out there. But we had a number of people that were there. and it was just smiles all around. ESPN covered it, everybody covered it, and you guys did a wonderful job as well. And I truly appreciate those types of memories, because those are the things that you carry on in your career, and you say, hey, that was pretty cool. At the time, it was a little weird. It was a little bit crazy. People might have laughed at it and all those different types of things, but what a wonderful experience for those student athletes, and what a wonderful experience for us as a program.
Yeah, I'm still unthawing from that day, but it was nonetheless a great day to talk to Donovan, to talk to Max, and see all these different athletes from basketball to volleyball and even more of the football athletes be able to achieve a dream and have so many eyes on them that day. Eric, thank you as always for your time, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Tyler. Go Lakers.
Go Lakers. You can find more information on West Bloomfield Athletics on their website, westbloomfieldathletics.com, or follow the West Bloomfield School District on Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools to see all of their accomplishments all season long. That's our show. I want to remind you that television that's close to home is always online on civiccentertv.com and across our social media. Big thank you to our entire crew for making the magic happen behind the scenes, including the newest member of our team, Caleb, welcoming him to the team today. And of course, we want to thank you for being part of today's adventure with us as well. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Kieft. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV.